You young folks out there, I probably should let you know that back in the day, like the 1990s, they had these infomercials on TV, and they were all basically a long commercial, and they're trying to sell something to you. There was also during that same time, and I guess infomercials still exist, but there was also in that same time this world of dial a psychic, and you could pay $3.99 back in the 90s, which is a lot per minute. So you would call up a number, and you could go to a specific psychic, or you would have their 4-digit number, or you could just get a random psychic. And I think they had it where you could call in and you could say, I'd like a tarot reader, or I'd like a horoscope, or I'd like a psychic, or you could request whatever you wanted. And the industry came into had a lot of problems, partly because they were charging you for that introduction of press 1 if you'd like a tarot reader, press 2 if you would like a horoscope, press 3, so they didn't realize they were getting charged for that amount of money. When that was, I think that got nixed after a while, but people they'd run up several $100 bills, and they didn't have the money to pay for it, so they'd just cancel their account. They'd cancel their phone number and didn't pay the bill. Psychics didn't see that coming, and they ended up going bankrupt. Anyway, it was a phenomenon for a while, and then it hopefully has faded. Now we're using TikTok, but they had dial a psychic. So during that time in the 1990s, my boyfriend, Mark Edward, whom I did not know at the time, worked on those psychic lines, and he worked for 13 years, and he'd make like 25 cents a minute. So look at how much profit's going to the phone company and to the psychic network. And at the same time he's working on these psychic lines, he's also a magician, a mentalist, which is a person who pretends to be psychic. They do seance and things that are psychic related. And he also was working with the skeptics. So he enjoyed all of that. He loved giving readings. My partner, Mark Edward, has died. He died in August of 2024. And today is the 16th of April, 2025. So he absolutely adored giving readings. He enjoyed it so much. And I don't know if it was like a game, or it was a way of socializing, or a lot of everything, but he really enjoyed it. The mental gymnastics you had to do. So he wrote about what I'm going to show you in a book, and this book came out when I knew him, because we got together in 2009, and he really wanted to get this book that he had written published, and I kind of pushed him and did editing, and we got Randy to give the foreword, and I took the photo on the cover, and he managed to finally get it published, and it's out of print now. Let me get a copy here. I'm sure you can get it still on eBay or other places, but I believe it's out of print. The company is no longer printing it. It's called Psychic Blues: Confessions of a Conflicted Medium. And I did take that picture. It's taken in my studio at JCPenney. So I loved doing portrait photography. Now, if you look at this, if you look at the picture really closely, you can see that there's a third hand right here. Isn't that clever? It's a mentalism thing, I guess, or a magic thing. Anyway, so he says it was a conflicted medium because he really did enjoy being a psychic. There's some downsides to it, but he really enjoyed parts of it. And, he's atoned for all of that in my mind, for all the tons of work we did after once I met him, that we were doing to explain the psychic world. And he talks about it, saying that he got into the psychic world because he wanted to know the secrets. And you're not going to get the secrets unless you're playing along with them with a wink, wink, nod, nod, and you played along with them. And most of the people in there knew fully well they were charlatans. And he talks about that. So anyway, the book's a good read. I'm not making any money off of it, obviously, because it's out of print. You can get the audio edition like on Audible, and it's read by Mark, which is really cool. It's longer than this because when he recreated the audiobook, it has the excerpts that the publisher took out. So it's a little more of his personal life and stuff. And if you buy an audiobook off of Audible, I think I get $1. So yeah, you're feeding my garden money or something like that. So yeah, go ahead, please buy the book. I think the audiobook's terrific because it is in his own voice. And he was a great guy. And anyway, so it's got photos and all kinds of stuff in the print version. So I don't know, get both. Like I said, I'm not making any money off of the print. But the chapter that we're going to talk about today, and I'm not reading this to you or anything like that, it's chapter 3, World's Greatest. And so this talks about how he was working for the Psychic Friends Network. Nobody has ego like a magician. and he got a letter in the mail, and it said, "Wanted, the world's greatest psychic." And he says, "My first thought was that they had to be kidding, but I read on. And so what they were doing is said they were looking for somebody to be the world's greatest psychic for reasons." And he's like, "Well, that's me." He was trying really hard to rise. He says, "I rose to the heap um, of the pile of crap out there in the world of the psychics." So anyway, you can still follow him on Facebook. I mean, obviously he's not posting or anything, but oh my gosh, the photos he would put up there. So I want to show you, and I will, I'm really going and doing a lot of archiving of DVDs, VHS, beta tapes, reel-to-reel tapes, cassette tapes. That's what I got running in the other room right now is a cassette tape, trying to get everything copied, digitized, and put up on the internet where I have permission to put it up. So this is the Psychic Rival Network infomercial from 1995. I'm not going to show you it all, but I will give you a link to it so you can watch it, and it's hilarious. Anyway, in that chapter, the world's greatest, chapter 3, he talks about this infomercial. So I'm just going to show you bits and pieces of it, and you can watch it yourself. And this is the day. Now, he didn't work with Miss Cleo. She was really famous for doing these infomercial things. He worked for a competing network, though I think that they all might have been owned by the same people, but he worked for the Psychic Friends Network, and they're bankrupt now. And who knows, they're doing, I don't know, politics or something. I don't really know. It's 1995. What is that, 30 years? Oh gosh. Yeah. This is what, the 30th anniversary. So he talks about in the book, let me just catch you up on this. He talks about how he was married at the time, and I guess his wife was involved, but she is nowhere mentioned in the book. He removed her because they were divorced like 3 years by the time I ever met Mark. No, more like 5 or 6 years. They were divorced a long time when I got involved with him, and I've never met her. And she was an artist like he was, and so I guess she was doing tarot readings, or I don't know what she's doing, but they both had degrees. Well, Mark had a degree in performance art from Caltech. So this idea of getting in people's faces and doing outrageous things to see if you could get away with it was just kind of like what his degree was in. I'd never heard of that before, but anyway, so they've arranged they're going to do this new TV infomercial show, and it's going to be called the Psychic Revival Network. So it's going to look like a revival, with a big tent and instead of a lot of praise Jesus and I'm healed, it's going to be psychic related, but it's going to feel like a big psychic, like a faith healing kind of thing. So this is the infomercial, and you're going to see, well, those of you who have been around a little bit will see some famous stars at the time, and that were doing their gig, that were hired to do it. Nell Carter, who was, I guess, a child actor, she was a singer. And Mark didn't have pleasant things to say about her. He said she was very nice, but she just was just like, where's my psyche? She kept calling him a psyche. And then the other is the guy who was on Chips, the motorcycle guy. His name is, sorry, it's right over my head. You'll see in the video. And, the perfect teeth and everything, was very good looking. And then there's other psychics with Mark. So Mark, now he knows he's not real. He knows these people aren't real. So as he talks about in the book, I'm giving away stuff, but there's a lot of really interesting things in the book. As he talks about in the book, he wanted to go in there straight and just see if he could do it without any helps, anything of the sort. And he never did get a real clear, do these people know that they're fake? They all stayed in character, because there's two other psychics there, and they stay in character. And so Mark, this is an all-day event where they're shooting this stuff. He talks about that in the book also. And so what you're seeing is like, this is a 28-minute video. Of course, I'm not going to show you all 28 minutes, but you can tell, that they've got this audience there and so on. So, well, let me show you a clip or two, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about it in a second.
The following is a paid commercial presentation of the Psychic Revival Network.
Very
These
1990.
people are gathering here because, like millions of others around the world, they are becoming aware that they are a part of an emerging worldwide phenomenon. They are just some of the millions of people who believe in and depend on the value of psychic advice. They know there are people who are gifted with the ability to see into this psychic world and find answers to help them achieve the love, wealth, and fulfillment that they deserve. They are a part of a revival of sorts. They also came to share today with this beloved entertainer, singer, actress, comedian, and celebrated star of television and the Broadway stage, Miss Nell Carter.
Hi.
Nell is here today because she wants to introduce America to this completely new kind of spiritual resource.
Say a prayer.
So if you believe that there's more to life than meets the eye, you are about to find out you are not alone. Stay right there. You're tuned into the Psychic Revival Network.
I am so excited to be here today. I'm thrilled because I'm not here to play a role or to speak somebody else's words. I am here to be me. Yes.
So hokey looking at it now. Okay, so some of the things you should notice, and some of the things that people, because we're a lot of us were raised with a TV, and we just completely forget that we're watching an act, we're watching something, and we forget that there are cameras all over the place. We forget there's people with microphones, these big microphones that hang over your head. We forget how much choreographing is going on. We forget that there's editing. This is hours they recorded, and comes down to just a few minutes, and how it looks so wow, energy, and wow, look at these healthy people who are just there because they're so into the psychic world. And no, all of that is fake. All right, so everything that you're seeing is fake. Not only is this an infomercial, but it is well, that's how TV's done. Infomercials, as well as reality TV, as well as just about everything, right? It's fake. So as you look at these people, these very happy people, one of the things you're going to notice is that they are dressed just so. And when you're watching a psychic show, well, anything of consequence, if you see people who are just a little too prepared, their hair looks just too nice, their makeup is just too nice, their nails are done, their clothing looks just too, they don't look like somebody who's just wearing whatever and is going to the grocery store. These are people who are supposed to be dressed casually, but they're also dressed to be on TV. And so one of the real big telltales is that they're not wearing any logos. So because they don't want the camera people, the film people don't want to have to pay any kind of editor to go in and have to clean up each frame that shows a logo, or have to pay out trademarks or anything of that sort. So you can kind of tell, and I pointed this out bunches of times on Seatbelt Psychic, that the people who get into the car in the back seat with Thomas John, they look just too cleaned up, too prepared, but sort of casual, right? So they're not wearing dressy outfits, but they obviously look like they know they're going to be on TV, and we're told to wear casual stuff. So these are people who they found off of like whatever the equivalent to a Craigslist, or it's like a calling. They do this. So it's been explained to be like in Hollywood, if you live in the areas, and I guess other places, Toronto and Seattle, where they do filming stuff like this, they have these websites or like not a newsletter, but like these email chains that say, hey, we're going to be doing this thing on this day. They don't necessarily tell you what it is, a game show or background people, and they advertise it. And then I think you can apply, or you can show up, and then they check you out that day, and they give you a stipend, lunch, bottled water, that kind of thing. So you get people who will show up to be in the background of things or whatever. So that's kind of how they got this audience. So these aren't necessarily people who are from this clients of this Psychic Revival Network, because the Psychic Revival Network didn't exist. In fact, it never did. This is the infomercial, and it didn't go anywhere, at least not that I know of. But the Psychic Friends Network, these are not people that they said, hey, you're one of our Psychic Friends Network people, come in, we'll fly you out to LA and for a day, we'll give you a couple of days in a hotel. No, these are people who aren't actors. They're people who want to be in the acting world. So they put them off stage, and then they put the cameras on, and then the people walk in all together, and they sit down in their assigned seats, and they're clapping, and they're all excited because this is revival. So that's all fake. It's all phony. All right. So the people are sitting in assigned seats, or at least they're in seats, and then they have to remain in those same seats throughout the show. And that's important. And I will tell you why in a little bit. So, oh my gosh, I don't know what you guys know. So I might be telling you stuff you already know.
And to tell you about something I really, really believe in that has been so incredibly useful and important in my life. It has helped me tremendously. And I'm here to introduce you to some remarkable people. People I'm sure you're just going to adore, who've become like a family to me. There are people who have been blessed with the gift, as we used to say when I was younger, the gift of sight. In other words, they are trained professional psychics. And best of all, I am here to introduce you to an exciting and completely new kind of psychic service that these wonderful people have created. Now, I have never met people more gifted than the angels I'm about to bring out here for you to meet. Ladies and gentlemen, here are my three personal psychics, Chris, Mark, and Brianna.
Everybody clap.
I know each of you And you really have been very, very helpful in sharing your gifts with me. I can't tell you how grateful I am.
I see a lot of wonderful things. I see you working in Paris.
You see me working in Paris?
And I also see a new man coming into your life about 50.
Wait, slow down. You see me working in Paris for real?
Yeah.
Because I have an offer to go to Paris
Go.
in February.
Take
now,
it.
what about this man?
The man?
No, this is the boy. What?
Yeah. Well, the man is a Taurus, sign of the Taurus.
He is. He sure is.
Yeah, he has money.
Ooh.
Not your money. He has his own money.
He has his own money.
Yes.
That's a change.
Yeah, and he likes you. You already know this man, by the way.
I already know him.
He's in his 50s.
Oh, God. You're making me shake because that is
That's all
very
right.
true. I'm getting hot.
All right.
Oh, but enough about me for now.
let's keep going.
Anyway,
Sorry.
why don't you tell these people about the fabulous new psychic service that you just started? Go ahead, Mark.
Thanks, Nell. Each of us up here and all the psychics on our new network have spoken with literally thousands of people directly because in addition to our own private practices, we've all been a psychic on one of those big phone networks. And it's been great, but as you know, the fascination with psychic phenomena has grown and exploded in recent years. And the bigger the explosion got, the bigger the network got.
Wait a minute. You mean the huge network wasn't always so big?
Not at all. I remember a time when there was just a handful of psychics and we all knew each other, we knew everybody. Then it began to grow. Soon there were dozens, then hundreds. Today there are thousands of psychics on those huge networks.
1,000?
Absolutely. And the bigger it's gotten, the further we psychics have gotten from each other and the people who we serve. And after a while, I begin to feel that maybe bigger is not better. Maybe when it comes to dealing with people's personal lives, closer is better, smaller is better.
Well, not all the time, honey. Big is good sometimes.
Sure, no. More individual concern is better.
Oh, so that's what you mean.
You see, now, I joined the huge psychic network that Mark was on, but it became so big that I never even met the celebrity psychic that does all the television commercials. And you know what? Neither do the people who call for psychic advice. They never get to talk to the people they see in the commercials.
You're kidding me, right? Never?
That's right, never. That's why I am so excited about our new network. I actually get to treat people like I treat my own family when they call me for advice.
And that's really the key. We all wanted to be part of a phone network where all the psychics were connected like a family, where our clients could come and be treated like family.
And that is the idea behind the Psychic Revival Network. It's a place for people to go for professional psychic advice about their future, about their job, about their love life, about anything that's important to them, and be treated like a member of the family.
I felt that I warmed up immediately.
His hair. I can't deal with the hair. He got way better looking as he got older. Bowler tie, I think I still have that. That was fashionable back in 1995. Anyway, so as you can see, I did see some logos on some hats, so I'm surprised, but they didn't to me look like they necessarily were something that I would have. I mean, it wasn't like Coca-Cola or something like that, but so I don't know. It's 1995. They do still look a little too put together, but the point is, so they're reading off a script or they had to memorize it or whatever. And Mark had been working for this Psychic Friends Network for a very long time. And as I said, making 25 cents a minute. And he had other jobs as well, too. He would do this, you could just call in and say, I want to be on the rotation. And they would just feed calls through to you for as many hours as you wanted to do it. He said he would do housework, he'd be ironing, cleaning the toilet, doing whatever he felt like doing as he's on the phone with these people. And he says that's what everybody did. So Nell does not know them. She met them that day. And so this idea that they're her personal psychics, no. They don't even know each other. They met that day. They showed up, and Mark talks about in the book how he shows up and he meets these other two women on that day. So this is all like, they're trying to say like, we're a family now and we're this and we're that. None of that's true. It's just a bunch of hooey. All right. So then I guess people call in. I'm going to call in. They've got these cuts in with people. And let's see what this is. I just saw Mark's face on this. We'll see.
Oh,
It all began when a group of some of America's most gifted professional psychics came together to create a completely new kind of psychic service, a network designed and run by the psychics themselves, where deep communication is more important than high call volume, where making a real connection with clients and making a real difference in their lives is more important than making money.
Oh my gosh, this is just making me laugh. Oh, wait. Here's another part. He's got another line in here.
A real connection with clients and making a real difference in their lives is more important than making money, and where everyone who calls is treated like a member of the family.
The psychics on our new network are literally the best in the business. We know and respect each other. Each one of us has spoken to hundreds, even thousands of people, from housewives to astronauts, from athletes to businessmen. We've helped them with their careers, their love lives, their finances. So when people call, they literally become a part of a family, and that's the way we treat them. We don't stay aloof, we get involved, we care, we listen, and we give our honest and caring insight.
Okay, that's all a bunch of hooey. They don't know who's calling in. People call in and they can say they're an astronaut or whatever. The people who are answering the phone are not psychic, so they don't know. There's no, I don't know. This idea we get involved, we're a part of your family. It's all hooey. The psychics do not know each other. They're at home, and they don't have any contact with each other. I don't even think email was that big a deal in 1995 or 1990. And so, no, of course they don't know each other. I mean, if you did a in-person gig over, which Mark would do, and he talks about in his book, different kinds of events that he would go do, where they'd have these fairs and you can go set up a table and you pay an amount of money and then they do that. Yeah. So that's all, you know, it's just that then you would know somebody, but for the most part, you don't know each other. So all of that is just nonsense, just plain nonsense. And as I said, he writes about it in his book. Okay, so what's going on? Like I said, it's Eric Estrada, very attractive man, perfect teeth. He was the guy who rode on a motorcycle in the TV show Chips. And I vaguely remember this. So, oh my gosh, I'm looking at this. And it's just an infomercial trying to get you to, hopefully they're going to get this bought into. Okay, I'm going forward. And the people in the audience, okay. Okay, so I'm getting to where Mark is. All right, so here's what's going to happen. Mark has made, in his mind, according to his book, he says he's made a deal with himself because I guess he's feeling guilty about faking it. And he wants to do it cold. He wants to just go in there and do it because that's how he does his psychic readings and things. I mean, he used some thinking aids, and I still have all that. Like I have a file that has all these cold reading tips, and he would just, like, if he was on a phone and he would just pull out something and he'd read what was on the card and he'd read it to the person and they'd say, oh my gosh, that's so accurate. And he'd pull out another card and it'd say something like red lipstick. And they'd go, that's it. I was at the store buying, and they'd make some connection to it. So he used those kinds of aids just to keep it kind of random, I guess, and to come up with different things. So he's thinking, can I get away with this? He's really trying to just see how far he can take this. That's what he's doing. And, of course he got paid too. I don't know how much he got paid. He had a fight with him to get the money though. So I don't know what he got, a few $1,000s probably. And so, and no residuals or anything of the sort. And of course the Psychic Revival Network goes nowhere. So what ends up happening is he's made this deal with his conscience. He's in a trailer. They've got their own trailer. And he wants to go in and give these people a cold read. Now, that's what he wants to do. He wants to select somebody out of the audience at random, or if he'd just been watching him for a while, and he might have gotten a full good read on him. He wants to do it like that. He wants to go in and just do it like that. And that's what he's telling himself. He's like, ethically, ethics. I'm going to do it cold like a mentalist would, and no trickery. And what ends up happening is he wasn't allowed to do that. They told him, no, you have to have it right on the first try. We're not going to be editing all of this out. You got to do it right. And they didn't want to say it like that so much. And Mark has some way of explaining it in the book, how they explained it to him. But so what they do is they made all of the people in the audience fill out a card. Now, this is common, and they do it in the faith healing world. They do prayer cards. Who do you want to hear from? And so they had everybody fill out cards about what questions they had or what they would like to hear from a psychic. They had some kind of prompt on the card. I don't know what was there, but they were told all to do that. And I guess if you didn't do it, then there's no way you're going to get a reading, right? So in the world of mentalism, in the mentalism branch of magic world, they call this pre-show. And what they do is they find ways of getting you to reveal this information ahead of time. And there's ways of doing it, and there's many ways of doing it, and I'm sure you could think about it. You could be given a clipboard and you write it down on the clipboard. You take the paper and you fold it up and you keep it and you show it to nobody. And they'll tell you, I know, I want you to just concentrate on this one thing. So I want you to write it down so that you won't start thinking about other things. So we have a record that this is the thing you want. Like if you say, I want to know who is the first person you've ever kissed, or who was the first person who gave you flowers. Mark uses lines all the time. I want to know I want you to write down the initials of the person who, the kind of car you first got, or whatever it is. And so they're trying to get you to write it down. And there's a reason they want you to write it down. It's because there's many methods. They can see what's on that paper, even though you took the paper. And I won't go into it, but let me just say, there's a reason you're writing it down. And it could be a paper on a table. It could be a clipboard. It could be electronic, whatever. They want you to write it down for a reason. Okay, that's one trick. And there's, like I said, there's tons of these different things. So they asked these people to write down what they wanted to hear from the psychic. So they take all these papers, and I guess they have their seat number on it. I don't know how they decided that. I'm sitting, maybe they handed them paper and said, you're sitting in seat number 5, row 6 or whatever. And here, I need you to fill this out. And they went and had everybody do that. And they took all the papers and they put them in a pile. And they told Mark, go pick 3. And he's like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this on my own. I got this. And they're like, no, go pick your 3. Don't be silly. Go pick 3. And he didn't see the other psychics do it, but he knows, of course, they did it. At least I don't think he writes that in the book, but of course they did. Because Mark was holding out. He didn't want to go to where those papers were. He wanted to stay in the trailer because he was like trying not to run into the people. And they finally were like, no, you got to do it. So in the book, what Mark says that they did is they had everybody sitting down, and then they made them fill out the papers. And then there was a problem with the audio or electricity. Everything shut down. So everybody had to get up, and they left the seats, and they went and did something for a break. I don't know if they gave them food or whatever. And they said, okay, we've got it fixed. And then they brought him back in. And that's how they managed to kind of fool the people in the audience. So there was no problem. They just manufactured a problem so that they could make this natural kind of feeling break. Oh, we have to stop now. We can't continue filming. We need a break. Get up, everybody, wander around, giving the psychics time to go and find 3 readings that they wanted to do. So Mark said he had this break with his consciousness. He was planning on leaving if this happened, if they didn't allow him to do this, but he decided to go forward and get his money and do it and be on TV. And so he made this ethical decision. And I guess what he says, I can't remember what he says in the book, but I think it was like, well, what purpose would it have served, for me to walk out of this? It's not like they're going to be like there was any ethics in it at all. These people didn't care. And it is all about the money. 100,000%. It's all about the money. A lot of times it's about power too. So a lot of the mom and pop kind of readings that I watch, and it's all mom, it is about power and feeling needed, feeling like you are making a difference. So it's not only about money, but in this world, it is all about money. So what Mark says is that he was told which person was with each reading, and they were color coded. He had like a color red or something like that. So they put a piece of red tape underneath the person's chair that he was going to be reading. And I think they numbered them, like first person's that one, second person's middle, and third person's there. So he knew which person he was going to be going to, because he could see right under the chair and he could see which person. So let me show you this reading. I think yeah, here it is. Okay, so here's the first woman he's got. Okay. Now, so remember, he knows what's on the thing that she wants to hear from. Everything else at this point, Mark is just making up.
I've agreed to do a few impromptu readings right here and now for some lucky members of our audience. Take it, guys.
All right. Well, anybody would like a reading in the audience? Let's see. How about, I'm going to go to this lady right here. Stand up if you would. Your name is?
Pat.
Pat. Right away, Pat, I get this feeling that you are a people person.
Yes.
You've never been somebody who would be happy stuck in a windowless room with a computer or anything like that, right? Yeah. Are you involved with, I feel like bodybuilding or maybe nutrition or food or something like that? Is that right?
Yes.
So do you have a specific question maybe about food? I don't know. What would your question be?
Well, I'd like to know, will my health food business be my income for retirement, or would mail order be the vehicle for my wealth and freedom?
Forget mail order. Mail order's out. You get into health foods and helping people that way, and you'll be very successful as long as you can be very sure about the people who you put your faith in who work for you. Sometimes you're not always the best judge of people's character. Is that true? Sure. Okay, so if you can just listen to what your gut level says about the people who you get to work for you, you're going to be incredibly successful, okay?
Thank you.
All right, good luck. All right, thank you. Okay, I'm going to send it over to Brianna. All right.
How about you?
Okay, so those are all Mark's words. He only knew what it was that she was looking for, career advice, I guess. And so he just kind of made it up. And so the other psychics are going to do the same thing. But he had time to think about what he was going to say. And of course, he's using cold reading tactics and Barnum statements. And he's done, seriously, thousands of readings. So it does come out glib and kind of not like a big deal. Here's the next one.
To blossom and grow.
That's amazing, because I've been dedicating my life to my children.
Good.
Thank you.
Now back to you, Mark.
Okay, all right. How about this lady here? How are you?
I'm fine.
You're a troublemaker, aren't you? Is that right?
Big
I know that, right?
troublemaker.
I feel like you got a lot of energy. You're a little bit
also-
dangerous. So
I
let's
hope
get
I'm
to your
not
question.
too dangerous.
What's your question? You have
My
a
question is, I'm taking a trip,
Okay.
and I'd like to know if the trip will be safe. And I want to know if I do make it, will I have a wonderful time?
I think you will not only have a wonderful time, but you're going to experience something that's really going to change your whole life, and it has nothing to do with any accidents or anything like that. Most of the things you worry about never come true, right?
That's for sure.
So are you going to have fun on your trip?
I sure will, now that you told me.
Okay, good. I'm glad. You have a
Thank
good
you.
trip. All right. Bon voyage. Okay.
He acts like he just happened to pick the woman out of the audience. No, he knows exactly which person he's going to be pulling out because he's already read her card. Bon voyage. You know, the lines that I heard him say that maybe to you watching this for the first time sound very like, wow, that's very nice and natural. No, I've heard him say those exact same lines to people over the years. Oh, you're a troublemaker, aren't you? You know, and you worry about things and they don't end up coming true. Don't I've heard him say those exact lines to people over the 15 years we were together, many, many times. So it's not like let me see if there's one more. It's not like, it's just they get into that world of glib things just pop out of your mouth. You don't even think about it after a while. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's a third one in here. I thought he had 3. Well, I'm not finding it, but I will put the video in the link underneath here. So I hope you find this interesting. I kind of, it's weird a little bit that I'm using my dead partner's videos, his old work, and I feel like I'm able to bring it back and reintroduce him to people that, yeah, he did this. He totally did this. He was like, you know, if he had not had the ethics and he didn't have a background in magic, because of course it would be really hard to be like the next John Edward or Tyler Henry or whatever like that, if you have a magic background, especially as a mentalist. But if you had just fallen into what he's doing and you had the personality that could do this, Mark could have been a multimillionaire, you know, living on an island of his choice with his, you know, owning the island or whatever it is that they have. He could have been that person, morally dark, and certainly never my partner. No way. And, you know, never being a part of an important part of the skeptic community. He could have done that because he had the skill. He had the personality to pull this off. And, you know, look at that hair. He's good. But, you know, he was trying to get away with it and as a performer to see if he could do it. I mean, he just thought that was great. So anyway, like I said, he made up for a big time out over the years of explaining exactly what's going on, including writing this book. And it's a really good read. How many pages is it? It's beautiful too, because Mark was really into the art of things. It's 219 pages. It's a quick read. It's got photos and the just everything is just really, you can't see it here, but it's just really pretty. The paper is good and everything. So I mean, pick up a used copy if you can. It's a Feral House book, but like I said, it's out of print. And I don't know if I'm gonna ever. I'd have to figure out how I would go about getting that back into print because I own all of his works. But I hope to cover some of these other things in here. I have a bunch of cassette tapes that I found and I'm transferring right now that are readings that he used to do over the phone, over the radio. So he would go and he would show up at a radio set, and you know, he didn't just show up. It was a gig that he did. And they would call in and people would dedicate a song to somebody they love. And then they would ask a question of the psychic. And so he talks about, there's a whole chapter on that happening here. And I've got all the recordings. Oh my gosh. I've never listened to him. I've only been told about him. And of course I've read the book a few times. So I know that they exist. And as I'm trying to record them right now, I can hear bits and pieces to make sure I've got the audio right and stuff. I'm trying to clean them up. You know, what's going to sound good, what's not. So I'd like to share those with you guys too, because I think they're interesting. It's a part of our history, and my cassette player just went. So I know that's done. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know if you do. Leave me comments and like and share, subscribe, hit the little bell so you know when I'm uploading something. And I hope to be able to bring more of these to you. I hope you like them.